I ask you a question? Since you're so young and you have such a bright future ahead of you, what's your end goal in life? Come on, bro. Come on, bro. Why do you think like that, though? Can I ask you a question? Since you're so young and you have such a bright future ahead of you, what's your end goal in life? Come on, bro.
Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Harakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of GMS, great most on the root well, and peace and salutations to the elect of the true nation of Israel, Yasharallah. Quick lesson, man, on this little monster. All right, I'm gonna keep this short and quick, man. You know, you seen what he said, man. You know, like I hope this is a skit. I hope, but at the same time, you know, it's probably not, man. You know, knowing and seeing what these monsters do, not just the Southern Kingdom, but Northern Kingdom too. Us Latinos and Native Americans, you know, we do, you know, a good portion of our kiddos be acting like monsters too, in the same spirit, you know. This is all because this devil, Esau, Edom, the so-called white man, has destroyed the family and has oppressed us. All right, you know, incentivizing our women to kick the father out of the house. Okay, you know, and what does that do? It leaves the kids with no father. All right, and it leaves the kids with no structure, and they grow up, you know, all, you know, free willy-nilly. All right, and they end up like this, with mindsets like this, man. All right. Okay. What did I want to get? Micah 2:2. It says, and they covet fields, talking about the devil, Esau, Edom, and they covet fields and take them by violence, and houses and take them away. So they oppress a man in and his house. Okay, and that's what has happened. This is a product. This is the product of that, man. This devil oppressing us, blacks, Latinos, Native Americans, us Israelites, in our own house, man. Kicked us out, incentivized, passed laws to incentivize our women to kick the father out and leave these kids alone to the world, to be devoured mentally and spiritually, all right, in this case. And they end up growing up like this with the mindset like that. What do you want to do when you grow up? Get out of here, man. You know, you see, a kid like this is too far gone, man. He's only good for the fire, for real. You know, and this is the product of, hey, you saw the picture, all right? The CIA, they're laughing and they're happy, man, celebrating, you know. And that's what this devil does, man. They laugh at our calamity, man. They laugh at us, you know. See, y'all are the sons of the living power, Yahweh Shemel Shai, you know. But y'all act like this, you know. It's because the Lord, Yahweh Shemel Shai, has given you the power to do this, to turn us into monsters, you know, and to destroy our people mentally and spiritually and physically, man. All right, because we went against our power, man. So, hey, laugh all you want, man. When the Lord returns, he's going to set things right, and y'all are going to be oppressed. Okay, y'all, the curses are going to flip on you heathens, you Edomites, you know. So they oppress a man in his house, even a man in his heritage. All right, they've even stole our identity. They call themselves the people of God now, you know. This is Deuteronomy 4:5. Starting at 5, it says, behold, I have taught you statutes and judgments, even as the Lord my power, Yahweh Shemel Shai, commanded me, that ye should do so in the land whither ye go to possess it. Okay, keep therefore and do them, for this is your wisdom and your understanding in the sight of the nations, which shall hear all these statutes and say, surely this great nation is a wise and understanding people. All right, for what nation is there so great, who hath Yahweh so nigh unto them, as the Lord our God is in all things that we call upon him for? And what nation is there so great that hath statutes and judgment so righteous as all his law, which I set before you this day. Verse 9 is the point, okay? Only take heed to thyself and keep thy soul diligently, lest thou forget the kings which thine eyes have seen, and lest they depart from thy heart all the days of thy life, but teach them thy sons and thy sons' sons. You hear that? To thy sons and thy sons' sons. All right? Teach them what? The ways of Yahweh Shem Shai. So they don't end up like this little monster, man. This is not the ways of the Lord. All right? This is dross. Dross, man. Rust. Corroded precious metals and corrosion. You know what happens to corrosion? What needs to happen to corrosion? All right? It gets dusted off. Done away with. Burnt off. All right? And that's what's going to happen to our people. 2/3 of our wicked Israelite brothers and sisters, man. They're going to be burnt off and melted, like the scriptures say. Because we have became dross. All right? Okay? Which is the impurities of silver. Okay? The Lord's going to leave us here and melt us. Talking about the wicked of our people, man. That's why I say us. Because I pray I'm not a part of them. The wicked of our people. All right? Okay? So we're supposed to teach the ways, the laws, and commandments of Yahweh Shem Yahushai to our sons. Like the scriptures say. I had it. Proverbs 22:6. Train up a child in the way he should go. And what's the way? The laws and commandments of Yahweh Shem Yahushai. All right? If you love somebody, you're gonna treat them according to the laws of the Lord. All right? And when he is old, he will not depart from them. Okay? This is Sirach or Ecclesiasticus 30:1. He that loveth his son. Okay? If you say you love your son, all right? He that loveth his son causeth him often to feel the rod. All right? The belt, the paddle, the hand, spankings. All right? The sandal, punishment, chastisement. It doesn't even have to be physical, man. Okay? Chastising your son, man. Getting on them. Making sure they grow up right. With structure, righteous structure. That he may have joy of him in the end. And I can end the lesson right there, but I'm going to continue on. Verse 2. Because I just know this boy ain't got no father, man. I just know. Because if you had a father, you wouldn't be saying this, man. And being serious about it. Verse 2. He that chasteneth his son shall have joy in him, and shall rejoice of him among his acquaintances. Because when you chastise your son, you're raising him the right way, so he could be like you. All right, be a good boy. People. That phrase "good boy" it's a bad stigma nowadays. People use it as a derogatory term when it shouldn't be, man. A good boy. It's you want to be a good boy, man. All right, towards your father. He that teacheth his son, all right, grieveth the enemy. Okay, and before his friends he shall rejoice of him. Though his father die, yet he is as though he were not dead. So if you raise your son, okay, the right way, even if you die, all right, your son is gonna grow up to be like you. All right, and people, people aren't gonna even know that you're dead and gone, because he's acting like you. Okay, because you raised him right. All right. And didn't let him do whatever he wanted to do, like these women do. These women don't know how to raise a son, all right? For he hath left one behind him that is like himself. Verse 5, while he liveth, he saw and rejoiced in him. And when he died, he was not sorrowful, okay? Because you raised him right in the ways and the laws and commandments of Yahweh Shem Yahushai, which are the ways of life, are they not? Verse 6, he left behind him an avenger against his enemies. All right. And one that shall requite kindness to his friends. He that maketh too much of his son shall bind up his wounds, and his bowels will be troubled at every cry. And a horse not broken becometh headstrong, and a child left to himself will be willful. And that's this kid, man. Left to himself, he's gonna be willful, as in, meaning he's gonna do whatever the hell he wants. He could end up as a as a killer like this boy, end up in prison, end up, in bad case, man. So hope this is edifying to the elect. Shalom.